Welcome back to Will It Shoot. This week we've got a pretty interesting material. You may have come across this, you may have not, but this is what's commonly known as apple leather or apple skin. And it's maybe one of the latest in a whole series of fruit-based leather alternatives. These are typically marketed as a plant-based or vegan leather alternative. And if you punch in "how is apple leather made" into Google, you tend to get results like bio-based material made using leftover pomace and peel from fruit juice and compote industry, made from apples from northern Italy, home to a large apple industry. Apple leather is a vegan-like material that is completely free from animals. Apple leather is considered a biomaterial. It is created using organic waste materials that are recovered before being sent to landfills. And this all sounds great. Spoiler, you can probably tell already, I'm not a fan. The problem with this is that it is all marketing and it is all spiel. And what they don't openly tell you is that this is somewhere between 50 to 90% plastic. It really is not much different from any vegan leather we've had for the last 20 years, which has always been a cheap polyurethane or a plastic-based leather substitute. Now this does feel quite nice and supple, some of the qualities of a high-end leather, but it also feels cheap and plasticky. And you really do have to dive quite deep for anyone to admit that this is just plastic with a bit of apple in it. And this is a common theme across a lot of the fruit-based leathers out there. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think the only leather alternative that doesn't use sort of a plastic base with some fruit on top is the mushroom leather. But I do need to look into that a little bit more. That does sound quite interesting. From a production perspective, I can't really see how this is going to be any different to any other leather alternative, which we've had a few through the factory during this show. But I would be interested to get some genuine feedback from the team, like how this goes through the process compared to the sort of natural leathers that we typically tend to use. So yeah, let's see how that goes.
Night and day. Just an interesting point from Sacco. He said it's going really pleasantly with the apple leather, like super easy to cut. He's really confident it's going to last nicely and go through the rest of the processes. But his main concern is once the shoe's finished, the durability of it and how long it will last compared to the rest of the leathers that they normally use.
He doesn't believe it's made from
so they don't fit in the box. I can already see what we're working with, but let's just get them out for you here. Hey, yeah, vegan leather boots. When you don't really have anything to compare them to, they don't look too bad. They look all right. The right amount of sort of stiffness everywhere. I guess just the key thing here is that this is nothing new. For all of the marketing around it, that it's fruit leather or fruit based, it's basically exactly the same way that vegan leathers, aka plastics, have been made for the longest time. They've just found a new way to market it. So the biggest concern, and chatting to a few guys in the workshop, not actually going to hold up the way that actual leather does. But if I put my plastic prejudices aside for one moment, those are a pretty good looking boot. Like you can't say that they're not. If you do start to look really close and you compare it next to a nice leather, this here is the goat leather from Billy Tannery. And we have, you can see it's green on the heel here, so pretty similar. It's like, there's so much more like texture and life going on in a real leather, and these start to look really plasticky. But when you have them on their own, in isolation, I think they look really, really good. And I'll be the first to admit, they probably look better than most plastic or vegan fake leather shoes that I've seen. Whether that's down to the construction and the skill of the guys in the workshop, I don't know. They didn't seem super pleased about working with this. I mean, compared to the fact that we've been asking them to make shoes out of nappies and basketballs and bath towels, I thought giving them something like this might be a really nice treat. And that they'd be quite excited for it. But as soon as they found out that it was the apple leather and plastic, their faces turned and they weren't that excited. I think they have tried it before and it just was not as nice to work with as leather. I do think it'd be good to try some more of these leather alternatives that are popping up on the market. The big one is the pineapple one, but again, mostly plastic with a bit of fruit content. Another one is the sort of lab-grown mushroom leather type stuff, which as far as I know is not just plastic with some fruit. That is like its own product, and I would be super interested to see how that went. So if you do want to see more leather alternatives go through, do let us know. I know it can be really difficult to get hold of some of these things. I think they're really focusing on getting into massive producers to scale it up. We are fairly small scale, so maybe we don't have the pull required, but we can try. And who knows, maybe the mushroom leather actually wants to see itself put to the test and thinks it can hold up to the rigors of Will It Shoe and my never-ending criticism. If you have access to some mushroom leather, or you know someone who does, please get in touch. I would love to try that. And also let us know what you think of these. Do you think they look good? Do you think they look cheap, a bit plasticky? Do you prefer the slightly cleaner look over a real leather? Drop all that in the comments. We love to read them. Give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Will It Shoe.